Dawson Rider review.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of the Deluxe Blaze Megazord from Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel. So this is going to be the first main Megazord release for it, and it's kind of a unique Megazord because it's one of the, I think it's actually the only that I can think of, like main Megazord that's comprised of the 6 Zords representing the 6 Rangers, because usually, you know, the 6th Ranger will add on his Megazord to the main one, so it's kind of unique. I feel like there's one, I guess you want to count the Ninja Mega Falcon Sword for MMPR, but this was like done in Sentai. I don't know, I'm like rambling about trivia. Anyway, I want to highlight one of the coolest things about the Super Steel line. I know it's Super Ninja Steel, but Super Steel is just so easy to say, so I can guarantee you that throughout this year you're going to hear me calling it Super Steel in reviews, so I just want to say that right now. Anyway, the packaging on these I think is really cool. I mentioned it in the Morpher review, but I think it's really sleek. I especially really like the Megazord packaging because we have like an actual shot of the Megazord there, which I think looks really cool. And then you have another shot of it there in the lightning bolt. On the back, it's actually see-through, and you can see the Megazord in there, and then, you know, it advertises the rest of them. But it's really neat packaging. I'm going to take it out of here because it's just going to steal camera focus away. I don't mean that in like it's so sexy it's not going to be able to look at anything else, but I just mean the technology can't handle it. I think that's what that means. Anyway, but I think it's really cool. I really like it. It catches your eye in the store, and they also are re-releasing the original Ninja Steel Megazord and the Bull Rider for the Super Steel line in that new packaging, so if you didn't pick those up and you want the schmexy packaging, go ahead. Anyway, so let's go ahead and take a look at these individually, and I will be taking a quick look at them also next to their Ninja counterparts. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go right to left because I said so. So we got golds here, and these are pretty basic. These sort of bike-looking ones. There's not a whole lot to them, and there wasn't a whole lot to them for the Ninja counterpart either. In fact, this one, you literally do nothing to it to transform it. It just bees bike-ish arm. But yeah, it looks fine. Honestly, I think all these look, for the most part, fine. And I'll talk more about that in a second, but let's go ahead and take a look. Here it is next to us, the Ninja counterpart, which honestly the most glaring thing is the color difference for this, but I honestly don't have a problem with either of these. This is just kind of a more subdued shiny gold, and this is a more in-your-face one, but this one doesn't look dull. Like, this could have very easily looked dull, but they're both a version of gold, and I know one's more accurate, but with so many things looking like awful versions, I'm honestly fine with it. So the only real difference in it is the star here and then the size. And that's pretty much it. I think that they actually did a pretty good job on these. Alright, here you got Panda, who the main exciting feature about it is that this can spin, so that's kind of a thing. But this is pretty basic as is. It's a very unique Panda. It's like this really boxy, almost tank form, with a gray panda face, a spin wheel, and then flames coming off of it. But here it is next to us, the Ninja counterpart, which actually has the right color for a panda, which is weird. I'm like, look, there's white right over here. What happened? And then there's the flames here on the side. So this does have a bit more of differences there going for it. This can spin on this. It was really funny because I haven't messed with Gekiyatsu in a while, and I saw the instructions that, oh, this spins. I'm like, oh, they added that because they like the spinning thing. And then I'm like, oh no, it always did that. I'm just an idiot. I'm the dumbest boy in school. Alright, now here we got Reds, which I think also looks fine. You can move its wings as nature of transformation, but you can also sort of do it in some flying poses if that's your jam. Taking a look at the Ninja counterpart, and the camera just freaked out. And it freaked out again. I'm sorry I said the camera freaked out. It like can't handle which one. Honestly, I think these are also pretty close. Obviously, the under on here is white, the upside down. But the only real difference is the eyes, which I feel are actually more noticeable on the Ninja Steel version, which I actually like. Oh, and then you have the flames here. But I think the case for this one is you're going to notice more of the differences in the individual modes than you will when it's formed together. But I still don't think they're that bad, especially coming off the regular Ninja Steel Megazord, and there's been some other ones that have been more significantly different. Alright, now we got the Tortoise, which I think the core difference here is actually, I feel like this hides this a little bit more because it's higher up. But the little, you know, missiles here actually physically stick out, which is super annoying. And they're not necessarily supposed to be in this mode. I just wanted to save time. But I wanted to point that out. Unless there's something I'm not doing, but mine do not push in. And there's some little details there. But yeah, that's the difference there. Okay. Now we have White Rangers right here, which also uses that weird sort of, it's probably, I actually think this was the worst looking one because it has that solid gray plastic mold, which I think is like the signature cheap look that they have for these, and this one looks like far better. I think this is the most glaring difference. Also, when you're detaching them, these actually have press buttons, or not detaching them, but when you're putting it in Megazord mode, this actually has a button that's a lock, and this one just simply does it. And there's also some stuff with the rolling and the like sort of like, not this one, but like, not this one either. Was this one? I thought this one rolled for some reason. Oh, it's this one. It's the one I'm holding. And that's an Ninja. Where did this one go? This one. Oh, this one didn't have it either. I could swear that one of these had wheels other than this one. I guess I was thinking of the Ninja one, but this one does roll. Anyway, I wanted to make sure I didn't forget it, but then I realized I wasn't forgetting anything. And having the Ninja ones is confusing because they're right here. In fact, it's really funny in my Lion Fortress review, I had a blooper where I was trying to put the Shurikenjin in the Lion Fortress because I mixed them up for a split second. Alright, lastly here, we have blues, which the major significant difference is that they actually added handles here so you can have the 5-inch Ranger riding it, which actually I don't think was a terrible idea. I think what they could have done here is they basically used this but had them fold up a little bit more so it's not as obvious. But I don't mind that, like, honestly at all. I think that Bandai's attempts to sort of do cross-playability between the different sections of their line isn't a bad thing. I think it's actually one of the smarter things they do, so you can have a 5-inch figure riding on it and be like, that was like a really pathetic motorcycle. But yeah, so you can do that, and you can also, I'm not going to show it, but you can have it riding on the back of the Megazord in the Megazord mode. But like I said, I think that's actually kind of neat. It's nothing amazing, but like for kids, it's something so easy to do, and I don't think it takes away from anything. But that's just my thought on it. I know there's some people that are like, you're ruining the sacredity of Gekiatsu or something, but it's something that doesn't take away, and it's so easy to do, and it sort of adds a cross-play between everything. Anyway, let's go ahead and transform it. It's going to be super easy. All you do for these is just fold these up, like I mentioned before, and it doesn't have a little unlock mechanism or anything. For this one, it's also super easy. Just fold these down and fold these out so the pegs are facing down, and then fold the tortoise head away, and you just snap these in like this. Whoops. Jamonly. Okay. I feel like I'm gonna stab myself with that. Okay. So there's that. This one, the most prep you'll ever need. This is like on the level of Hyperesha Teo. Same for this one. Okay, and then this is the little sort of non-disc disc that comes with it that stands on top of it. And then for this, there's two little like, oh, for this, just let's go off screen. Let's do this right, sort of, like half right. Slowly zooming. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to get a full top view, but there's two little grooves in here that are going to correspond to these, and you just basically slide it over it and snap it on, like so, and that should be pretty good. And there you have the Blaze Megazord. I'm going to be honest, like, just in terms of design, setting aside any toy quality, I actually dig this design. I know that it's one of the least popular Ninja designs of the Ninja designs, which I feel aren't as popular in general, but I've always really dug Gekiatsu. I thought it was like really unique, and I liked how unique it was, but it also looked kind of awesome with the flames. So I actually like the design of this guy. And as a Megazord as a whole, when all of them come together, I think that Camera's doing this is amazingly professional. No, but I think they actually did a good job on this one. I actually think this looks solid. I really don't care what anyone else says. I mean, yes, there is stuff like the super gray down there, but I think it looks decent. I mean, of course you have the missiles popping out like that, but you don't have to have the missiles in there and display. I don't think that's crucial. But I think they did a decent job on this, and I think it looks pretty good, especially with how many fumbles Bandai of America has been making lately. I think that this is one of the more standout things that they actually did right. And I always think that the Megazords actually don't look as bad as people say. But this one in particular, I'm actually pretty fine with. Like, I could do a whole video about Bandai of America, like the heat they get, what they deserve, and what they don't. Because I think they're making a lot of stupid claims about budget for the Legacy line when other lines in America are doing similar things for the same price. But with this, it's simply not feasible for us anymore to port the Japanese mold because parents here won't spend $60+ on the mech. So with this one, I do understand. All right, but now let's take a quick look at it next to Gekiatsu. Okay, here they are next to each other. Obviously, there's a size difference and some detail differences, but I think this is, like I said, pretty decent. I actually prefer the orange plastic they used here. They kind of went for a milkier look here, but I think the more almost traditional see-through-esque orange plastic works better for this. And obviously the head is a lot less bulky because this actually is a full-on shuriken with sounds. So there's definitely that to consider if that's important to you. But if you're only a Ninja Steel fan or only a Power Rangers fan, then there's going to be no noises that have anything to do with Power Rangers, as far as I know, because Super Steel hasn't happened yet, but who knows, maybe they'll just say Gekiatsu randomly in Super Steel. And you can see, like, they're more concealed there and stuff like that. But I honestly don't think it's that bad. I think it's pretty solid. But there is some differences, but I do think they did a better job with that. I think that looks better. And even though you don't have the bulkier shuriken with the sounds, I think because we don't have that, it makes them look a little bit sleeker, which I actually do appreciate. Okay. Couple more things left to show off here before we get to a final verdict. So this little piece here is going to be used for combining it with Lion Fortress, which we'll show in a second. But basically, you just turn this, and it pops those out. And there was a mechanism on the back of Gekiatsu which did that, so that's the thing. Okay, but so you get the idea there. So let's just leave those two missing randomly. So now real quick, before we get to a final verdict, I'm just going to cut quickly to showing this off with the Lion Fortress. We're going to have to do the review display without the box because it's too big. Here we got the Lion Fortress all ready. I went and skipped the steps for getting this ready because most of you probably already know it. The Lion Fortress should be linked somewhere in this video or is in the same playlist if you're interested in seeing more about it. But basically, you know, just get it in this mode. As for Blaze Megazord, all you need to do is basically bend its legs, which is something that is helpful for this, obviously, but it's actually kind of nice you have that because it gives it a bit of articulation. And then just pop out this peg on the back, and we're just going to snap it in here with some finagling. And obviously you're also going to, actually you don't necessarily need to. I popped this off because I thought it was necessary, but I want to see if it works with it on there. Because with the Ninjas, you actually do have to pop it off, but with this one, I think it should be fine, actually. There you go. So yeah, you can actually keep that in there, and I just, out of habit, you need to remove Ninjas so that you can fit his head in there, and you use the regular head instead of the shuriken head. But anyway, then just pop Reds up here on top. There's a little peg. Just slide it in there, and there you have it. There is the Ultrazord formation, basically, with Blaze in there. So the same thing applies. He looks tiny. But it's neat that you can at least do that. You get extra playability to it, and I do appreciate that you can actually keep his head on there, or his helmet, disc, whatever you want to call it, but it makes it a little bit less accurate, but it's still kind of neat that you can do that. But yeah, that's that. Okay, final verdict time. I could not find Gold's missile, and I did not want to waste all that time looking for it just for that. Now there's going to be like 5 people leaving like, I can't believe this absolute amateur didn't find Gold's missile, and for the final verdict, unsubscribed. One of those 5 people is me. Anyway, so overall, I actually do like this Megazord. I know there's probably going to be people hating on me for actually liking it, but I think this is the strongest thing to come out of the Super Steel line so far. Yes, there are some missing paint details, but if you aren't going to display them individually, I feel like they're not as noticeable in this mode, and I think it overall represents the design well. My only real nitpick being the missiles just sticking out, but since you can just pop them out and not use them, I don't think it's that huge of a deal. But that was my my only grievance with this. I even liked some of the stuff they did better, like the orange plastic on it. So overall, if you had to get one thing out of Super Steel so far, I would pick this, and it's probably my favorite overall Ninja Steel Megazord they've done so far. Anyway, that's about it. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Dawson Ryder, signing out.